Look at these little puppies. He's just so happy. And she's just like, I'm here too. He's just so happy. Oh my God. Oh my God. She's just jealous. She's like, I want some love too, man. I want some love too. Sure getting colder. No, we're getting some parts. Woo. Alright, check this thing out. Gen 2, RMK. Somebody posted on Facebook, look for 98 XC RMK 700. Some guy posted this thing on there, said he had a 2000 RMK. I thought it was a 700. All I seen in the picture that he sent me was at a red boss seat. It immediately had my interest. Kind of cool. It's got aluminum tie rods. Super long tracked. I don't know what it is, 151, 156, something like that. Cool red boss seat. Immediately when we showed up, I noticed I had Digitron set up, SLP intake, and a tether. So that's cool. And you pop the hood, lo and behold, it's a freaking 800. And it has a full SLP exhaust, boost bottle, that's garbage, so it's cracked. V-force reeds, and I'm like, wow, this thing's cool. And then this caught my eye. Team secondary, billet clutch cover on the primary, keep it all balanced up, stiff. And then also noticed has billet steering post brace, aftermarket engine plate. Somebody spent some money on this thing once upon a time back in the day. However, it does have some issues. It's got a bad head gasket, so the reason I know that, not only A, you can smell it in the exhaust, the white smoke, but it's actually pushing the cylinder pressure into the coolant system. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fire this thing up and see if it'll still be blowing stuff out. Might be out of coolant by now. Well, I'm soaking coolant. It wouldn't come out of the hose for some reason, so I was like, oh, let's check the coolant level. Me and my GoPro are now covered in coolant. So as you can see, that's one way you can tell the head gasket's blowing. However, previously it was pushing it out of the hose. This time it was just pushing it on me and everything in the garage. I'm gonna go get cleaned up. So yeah, there you go. It's got a bad head gasket. All the cylinder pressure is going through the coolant system and spraying all over me. What else? There was something else I remembered this thing had on it. SP exhaust, engine plate, billet, reeds. Oh, it's got an SLP cheater head, high compression. This thing is like a bear to pull over. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it came with more stuff too. Hold on. It actually came with a bunch of paperwork stuff too, but it's got some extra SLP domes. So totally doing this the wrong way. I just popped the head, drain the coolant out. It's alright, it's burning coolant anyway, so I'll just purge what I can out of it. Throw a little 2-stroke in there and bucket sender. Alright, good news is it all pretty much looks brand freaking new. Alright, so as I'm sure you guys could probably hear in the video, this thing was pretty much running on one cylinder. Now, head gaskets are all replaced. It's all good. There's no spark on the mag side. So, that tells me bad coil. Luckily on these, the coil and the CDR are separate. And pretty much a coil is a coil. It really don't matter what Polaris set it came off of. These are all pretty much interchangeable. And I happen to have one right here from, I think this was off Edge, if I remember right. So, I'm going to go ahead and unplug and unbolt that coil, throw that one on there, and we should have spark on both cylinders. So we're going to try to fire this thing up yet again. Alright, here we go. Got the coil swapped out, plugged in. Plug wire is on. It's actually nice. It has a little clip here, so it keeps everything kind of organized. So you know I'm not faking it. Yes, there's still coolant in there. Look at that. I made a custom 2-up.
Take Amber out with me while I go riding now. What's up? What's up? No, I was kidding. That's just something else. But should have spark on both cylinders. I'm feeling pretty confident that the coil was the issue. So we're just gonna dive right on in and try to fire this bad chicken up. I'm gonna use my bottles here. And give her a crank. See if she lights up. Should sound pretty good, I hope. Shouldn't even choke. This thing is a beast to pull over. Choke it is. Too much because that boost bottle is cracked and I fucked up. Made a big old mess on my door. Oh my goodness. Hey, this thing sounds awesome. It also did not push any coolant. I would, oof, it's smoky. All that coolant burning off, that's, you know, mildly toxic. So that's cool. Oh man, this thing actually sounds really good. I'm pumped. It's almost gonna be a shame to tear this apart. Come to find out, one of the guys I race with, I was talking to him about this thing, and he's saying, man, that might be my old sled. So I started pointing off all the things that were done to it. That's all the things he did to his back in I don't know, 2000 or no, I think he might have bought this in 2001. And because not a lot of these 800 non-vests is sold here in Alaska. Most people wanted the 700. I don't know why. That's just the way it was. Obviously, hindsight, man, that stinks. See that hue of burning coolant, two-stroke. We didn't know about the crank issues back then, right? But people still bought the 700. Tried, true, performer, good to go. But he did a drop and roll on the chain case. He did the single pipe. He did the cheater head. He did the team roller secondary clutch. You know, and he did this billet cover on the primary. Now here's the thing. This sled's been wrecked a couple times. I don't mind the RTB. That was for my bolts. I mean, if you really look close at this thing. All right, we have a new SD card in here. It's the next day. But basically what I'm trying to get across is you can see the footrests are all tacoed, cracked, and busted up, bent from being wrecked so many times. This sled really isn't that great overall. It's not bad, okay? Something I did do last night is I rolled it over and I looked. This is a 151 by 2 inch Camoplast Challenger track. So it's got a 151 under it. Yeah. I'm really thinking about pulling the motor, the exhaust, everything engine related out of this sled, and the seat and the gas tank, and then selling the rest of it pretty much as a roller or parting it out. And I think it'd be really cool to put the 800, high compression 800 out of this into, oh man, it's cold. It was like -7 when I woke up. It's like -2 right now. But thinking about putting the 800 in this XC chassis rather than the 700 that's in it. So I don't know. The only thing I really have changed is where the exhaust exits in the belly pan, but that is literally as simple as making a new hole and then putting a plate over the old one. Super simple, really not that big of a deal. I've done it before in the past. But then I could also, down the road, maybe wedge body swap that Gen 2 out there, because I know not a lot of people have done that, which I have in the past. It's actually really easy. Or if they have done it, no one's really made videos on that. You can't do it to any wedge, but most of the newer wedges and the newer like Gen 2s, the body panels are interchangeable. Like, let's say you have a 98 XC700. I could take this tub and it'll rivet right on, because this has the tipped in CRC trailing arms. Same with the XC out there. It's got tipped in trailing arms, right? So I could take, oh, this is better example. This belly pan, plastic, will rivet directly onto that Gen 2. Zero changes. It's the same freaking bulkhead. It's the same front suspension. It's the same. One thing I would have to do is add this to a Gen 2, because they don't have that. Wiring harness a little bit different, primarily because the brakes are changed up, which really doesn't matter because it has a Pro X Willwood master cylinder on it, so that really doesn't affect it at all. I can just continue to run my lights on a switch like this has. I don't know. What do you guys think I should do? But really, there is one downside to this 800 motor, and besides the crank issue everyone cries about, I don't care. I broke a few 800 cranks. I've also had a bunch of 800s that didn't break cranks, and they lasted really well. So I've only had 2 crank failures in all the 800s I've owned over the years. But the only downside to this is SOP recommends 1 gallon of 108 octane race fuel to every 4 gallons of premium or 91 octane fuel. So 2 gallons of race gas to a tank. However, avgas, or 100 low lead, as it's better known as, is super easy to come by, and it's really not too expensive. It's like 4 or 5 gallons, or $4 or $5 per gallon. And this sled has lived its whole life running a 50-50 blend of premium avgas. So for every 5 gallons of premium fuel, you put 5 gallons of avgas or 100 low lead in it. And currently it's worked out fairly decent. But that's kind of where I'm at. Seeing it runs awesome now. No more coolant issues, or head gasket I should say. And the coil is replaced because it only had spark on 1 cylinder. The chassis is just kind of beat up. Oh man. So I don't know. I don't have the use for a 151 Gen 2 freaking RMK. But something I didn't really show you guys too much. I did actually, but the old SD card got corrupted or whatever. It kept giving me SD card errors and it wasn't working right. But it came with these, I believe they're PCP or PLP, I really don't know, trailing arms. This one's bent, obviously, but it has the end, the heim joint to put on that one over there. That's a complete set. It came with stock head as well. It also came with a box full of paperwork and some spare cylinders, which potentially might be able to be saved, but I'm pretty confident they're just cores. But I thought this, yeah, a bunch of used pistons, cylinders, domes. The domes are all beat up. This was pretty cool, I thought. It yep. So it's got a parts manual. That's pretty awesome. Came with just everything. Just everything for setting up for single exhaust, clutching and all that. This is more on the single exhaust. Bunch of wiring diagram. This does have the high altitude, whatever the hell, ATACC or temp flow. I don't necessarily know what you'd really call it, but that's pretty cool. It came with a bunch of paperwork on this thing and some spare parts. But for $900, actually, that's a lie. I have $920 plus a coil. I already have the coil into the sled. And I have a badass, good running, 800, high compression, big block, non-vest motor with all kinds of trick parts. Sorry, I keep looking at these. I absolutely love that primary clutch. I've never had one with the billet cover, and it tickles my fancy. So go ahead, tell me what you guys think, and stay tuned because we're going to keep working on sleds. We're probably going to keep buying sleds. We're probably going to keep selling sleds, but it is forever a revolution of sleds around here.